Alrighty, so I'm sure a lot of you are wanting to probably get this new Mael outfit, which is a free, I guess, costume that you get from finishing the exchange shop in the new Labyrinth season. So we're going to talk about the Labyrinth. Honestly, I don't think it's as bad as I initially thought it was going to be after watching some videos from JP. It seemed like it was supposed to be really, really hard. A lot of people told me that it wasn't as hard as they thought it was going to be, and I have to say, I don't think it was either. I did lose one run against this blue Lizhawk in the very beginning, but on my second run, I was able to pretty much go through the rest of the dungeon without any issues. So, going to give you some general tips, of course, and sort of tell you what I did. I pick Hauser for my first unit because you have to pick one of either Gilthunder, Hauser, or Griamore. I just think Hauser's a little bit of a faster unit to get through the floor one. Obviously, your additional picks are going to be a big contributing factor here. The first boss is blue, so the big thing to know here is that if you go for green units, you're probably going to be able to survive a little bit more. I have to say, Estarossa ended up being like the big MVP here because his commandment still works, and it's basically going to make it to where every time she attacks, she renews the buff that, or the debuff on her that gives her, I think it's, I want to say it's 25% attack-related stat reduction, but I'm not sure it's quite 25%. I'm not entirely sure, but she gets an attack-related stats debuff, which is really, really nice because it's going to make her hit a lot less hard, for lack of a better word there. So going in with green units is very, very good. His counter ended up being pretty helpful as well, so I could definitely recommend that you go for just nice, good, solid green units to start with on at least the first floor. And then once it comes to the second floor, it was Merlin. I don't think I really had any issues with Merlin specifically. She does have a freeze, which is really annoying. One of the biggest things that I definitely recommend is look at your board whenever you're making your way through the labyrinth right here. I'll try to show you a little bit. So I don't remember, I've probably already looked at the board a little bit. Let me try to backtrack a little bit. So you can see the thing with this Labyrinth season is that they're not giving you nearly as many options to get characters or free passives. The passives have been cut down tremendously. You can see that there are a decent amount of spaces to get actual characters, but it's up to you to make sure that you go for those. I think in this season specifically, characters are going to be way more important to get over passives, but the passives do help quite a bit. Obviously, general tips, don't get passives that aren't going to work for you. If you get a passive that says, boost damage on debuff skills, if you don't have debuff skills, don't get that passive. I think it's as simple as that. A lot of them are pretty mediocre passives at best, and then there are some passives that you can get where it's like 10% attack, which is pretty solid. I mean, overall, just getting a 10% attack boost is kind of nice. There were a couple of crit ones where it was 100% crit damage. That was obviously a really, really good one to go for. There are some race-specific ones. I've seen a couple of unknown race ones. A lot of people were telling me that if you get a goddess team, it is absolutely top tier in this season for sure, especially when you get to the depths part to farm it. Mael does absolutely, crazy work when it comes to the depths, but just being lucky on your your character pulls and stuff like that is obviously a big one. There are a couple of like really broken goddess passives where it like increases damage dealt by like 100% or something. So like there's some pretty crazy ones that you can get, but just kind of roll with the punches, see what you can get. I recommend not re-rolling stuff as much as you can because shops in this season are extremely important. You can see throughout here, I want to say there's always like one additional shop at the very end that you can go for if I scroll up. So you can kind of see it up here. There's a shop on the right side up here, but on the left side it's just another fight. So you want to kind of try to orient yourself, I would say, going towards the extra shops if possible, so that way if you have extra currency lying around, even if you're not going to grab an extra character or an extra passive, you can use it to grab some more levels or more super awakening in the early stages. Most of the time, from the other people that I talk to and from my own experience, by the time you get to floor 3, you're going to be getting kind of close to like around the level 80s, and then getting into the super awakening stars and stuff like that. If you're playing it right and you're trying to grab as many early levels and stars as you can, make sure that you just try to build synergy. Of course, like you don't want to put I'm kind of hypocritical here because I ended up moving Estarossa to the back line, I think, but Or, well, did I move Estrosa to the backline this early? I think I ended up putting Hauser in the backline. If you can get a halfway decent backliner, that is obviously going to help a little bit. Going through the initial phases and everything like that from the like first 3 floors is going to be a bit of RNG, of course, but once you beat it, it becomes a lot more easy because you can start taking characters that you beat it with into the beginning of the labyrinth. So you can start with like Purgatory Melee, for example, is what I did after I was able to beat it once. Obviously, it makes it a ton easier. So that was very, very helpful. Green Brunhild right here for my initial run was super, super good. She ended up helping me quite a bit because I could rush her ultimate if I needed to get healing, and she just does a ton of damage because of her single targets being absolutely crazy in general. So that was really, really good. Just kind of look at the characters that you get dealt, look at their skills, see if they would actually contribute to your team. Obviously, if you get a whole bunch of random characters, it can still work. You're not completely screwed. There is a lot of room for variety here, but just don't go for any sort of like race specific passives if you do that, of course, because it's not going to help you at all. But just making sure that you have some sort of halfway decent synergy. Like I said, floor 2 didn't really give me a whole lot of issues. Merlin does freeze you a couple of times here or there, but just making sure that you can get some good damage off is going to help, of course. Going into the final floor, the biggest thing to note is that Gother is the final boss, Red Gother. So he only has 2 moves, of course, which are rank up and an attack seal. So he's basically going to be attack sealing you every single turn. So making sure that you get pretty much every time that I did floor 3, I was dealt a decent choice when it came to character selection, where I was able to get either Margaret or Red Tarmiel, and I think if you can go for either of those 2 characters, it's going to help quite a bit, because Tarmiel is not only going to make it to where it disables the character's attack seal, but Margaret is also extremely good. You can see right here my lineup was Margaret, Zeldris, Mael, which is really good if you're going for a goddess team, but I didn't really have any other goddesses, so I didn't really want to go for him, or Red Tarmiel. Red Tarmiel will disable him from attack sealing you, and he also has a move, or his ultimate is going to take off ultimate move gauge, so you can't ult rush. So just having a cleanse is insanely good. We went for Margaret because that was just maybe the easier option. I did end up getting Purgatory Melee for one of my festival characters, so he's obviously got a cleanse built into himself, but there are weird times where he would pop my true magic buff and I would cleanse, and then he would immediately attack seal me afterwards, so you can't really rely on that, but if you get lucky, sometimes you can kind of get away with it. But the last boss is basically just going to whittle you down. He's just going to keep attack sealing you over and over again, keep using his ultimate over and over again, and until he completely gets your characters down to the point to where you can't really survive. He does have a revive. He revives with 50% HP, so make sure that you're not going all in on one attack or anything. During my second run that I did during the other live stream, when I actually fought Gother, I did a really big mistake, and I went for a level 3 attack card with melee, where it ended up screwing me pretty bad, because I completely forgot that he had a revive. You can see here I went for the level 3 card. It killed him, of course, which was fantastic, but obviously he just, he had 50% more HP that I had to deal with, and then it kind of screwed me there. He was able to attack seal me after I got my true magic and everything, so make sure that you're not going just all in with one card. I definitely recommend that. But then after that, honestly, the depths really wasn't too bad, as long as you, once you beat the initial labyrinth, if you don't think that your team is going to be too good for the depths, just reset and then start over from the beginning with the boosts that you get, because at that point, you're basically going to be able to start over with Purgatory Melee or whoever you ended up having on your team, and plus, it's going to give you additional buffs, so you can basically hit this blue one right here, start Underground Labyrinth Floor 1 with clear bonuses, and I was able to choose from all of the team that I had beforehand, so easy choice. I get Purgatory Melee first thing. It also gives me an additional choice of levels, Awakening, or Ultimate Move Gauge, or not move gauge, but ultimate levels. So I went for hero levels because getting those in the, or no, I went for Super Awakening, which was kind of nice. And then it also gives you a choice of one of the passives that you had. So I went for crit damage because it's early on. It's insanely strong. So it was super easy once you were able to beat it the first time. I know that doesn't help you out a whole lot in your initial run, but just getting the luck and playing it the way you need to just make sure that you're getting levels and, awakening and stuff, and making sure that your team is strong enough to go up against the enemies that you're facing is a big part of it. And then once you get that done, it's pretty much just going to be a matter of putting together a halfway decent team for, synergy wise. Make sure that it's not too debuff dependent, because debuffs are are basically not going to be allowed when it comes to the depths, but it's not too bad. It only took me about 5 or 6 runs total of the depths to get all of the exchange shop stuff out of the way, so I'm literally pretty much done with the Labyrinth unless I want to go back in and go for the little boxes or whatever. They did add this new mileage system. I don't think it was that bad. Once you buy these first 2, which is only like 1 run worth of the depths, you unlock the common shop, and then once you buy all 3 of these, you unlock the last shop, and you can get all 3 pieces of Mael's set within 1 run because they're only 120 a piece, so it's really not too bad. I thought it was going to be way more tedious, but it's fine. It really isn't all that. So I know a lot of people don't like the game mode. It's a little bit more RNG heavy, completely understandable, but if you can at least push through to complete the Labyrinth for the first time, I highly recommend you do so, because then the second run and everything is going to be way, 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 way easier, and it should be a breeze after that. So hopefully this was helpful. If you have any sort of tips or tricks or anything that helped you in your run, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. I'm sure it might help somebody out, but that is pretty much going to be it from me. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what your experience was, of course, and yeah, that is it from me. I will see you guys in the next one.